Hey everyone, we've got a 2012 150 Prado on the hoist. That's 13 years old, 190,000 Ks, and it's just finished a 12,000 K trip. And that's what it does, trips, and it does tow. You can see the airbags in there, and everybody probably wants to know, so what failed? Because we've got a 13-year-old car here that just goes on trips like they all do. People rely on these vehicles and they just get the job done and don't let people down. And I can tell you, clearly and concisely, it's not like that anymore. If you go buy a new car, depends what you buy, there's a lot of, I'm not going to name any particular, I'm not going to say like the Jeeps or the Range Rovers or the 250s or particular brands, but there's a lot of problems, not just one, and they're happening early on. So you can't really, in my opinion, rely on them anymore. So let's do a bit of inspection and look over this one front to rear, and then we'll get to what sort of let this one down. Could have let it down, and how you could have avoided, what your plan B, what your spares would be, or preventive maintenance to avoid it, or to fix the problem, because sometimes a few things work. So I'm just having a quick look around. We're going to waste a few minutes just checking things to let you know what else might need to be done as preventive maintenance. Just here for a service, 190K, but it's here before the trip and after the trip. And just going to have a bit of a look around ski, and have a look and see what we can find in this old Prado 4Drive that's been on the tracks, does touring, tows a T-van, around Australia quite often, doing trips in excess of 10,000 Ks. 13-year-old turbo, looks pretty good to me. Sump, engine, transmission, pan's never been off, original gasket, that's good. I'm sure it would have had some oil changes. Let's have a look at the bushes. The arms have been done because the stickers are on there. Already know. So you just, done as preventive maintenance, wear and tear on those bushes, chuck the arms at it, beautiful. Drive it nice and you probably won't need it. You can see, yeah, we put some grease in there. Brakes are looking all right. Drive shafts, original drive shafts, looking good. The boots are all good. It's got the Coney suspension in there, all right. Not going to say too much, all right. You just make your own decisions what suspension you put in. Yeah, you all know that I run Dobinsons on all my cars and I don't have any issues with it at all, whatever. If you watch this far, you might have got a bit of a hint as to what caused the problems. And that's part of the game, for you to have a look around and tell me. Take a guess before you actually saw anything. Don't rewind yet. Start thinking, what do you reckon failed on this car? I might have let it down. And how common is it? We'll talk about that before the end of the video. But I'm just looking around to make sure everything else. I'm not really talking too much about what I'm looking at, because on these cars, there's not much to see anyway, to be quite honest. Look, this one hasn't even got the sweat on the rack boot. We're not a fan of this bash plate, by the way. Brown Davis. Just looking around, a bit more evidence there possibly in that view. It's got the smart bar. Not sure how smart they are really, but that's all right. Nice and light. At least you're not shaking around a whole heap of heavy steel on the front. It's probably people friendly if you're going to mow people down. It's looking pretty good under here for a 13-year-old car that does all this touring, reliable touring. So what let it down, and what could we have done to prevent that, and what could be a solution to the problem? Well, there's your evidence there. There it is in the picture. Who saw it earlier when I said there's a bit of evidence? So yeah, the alternator did stop charging. Luckily it wasn't in a really super remote place. So one of the only spares I do carry, or used to carry, and I'll tell you why I used to, for these 1KD 5-speed autos that are just unbelievable. There's a few things you need to be aware of. Fuel transfer, possibly turbos, possibly alternators. Very rare, but it's possible. I'm just still looking around while I'm talking here. So with this one, yeah, the alternator got replaced with a cheap replacement, which is fine for now, and it might be fine for a long time. What is it, OEX or something, What can you do to prevent that? Not much really, but keeping out of mud and dirty water in particular is probably going to help. This went, it went up the west coast, went across the Gibb River Road, went through the water at El Questro and all that, and other water like that. Was that a contributor? I like the way the bash plate goes up the front for protection. Probably reduces a bit of airflow though, but not too bad. See what I mean? It's got that flat metal plate blocking the bottom there. So yeah, I sort of like it, but I don't. Not my choice. So look, there's not a lot you could do prevention. Keep it clean. If it does let you down, what you can do is pour a lot of fresh water over it, you know, to give it a good wash out in case there's some dirt and debris in there. Dirty bog holes will often debris in water. If you're doing a water crossing, don't go straight after the other guy. Just wait for everything to just settle a little bit and go slow enough that you don't get water up there. That's probably a prevention. Cures now, so like I said, give it a wash out with some fresh water might work. Get the compressed air might work. After that, taking it off and giving it a clean, or if you're really good on the tools, pull it apart, give it a clean, dry it out, might fix it depending what the issue is. It is rare that they have issues, but it can happen. Like any car alternator can fail at any time, really. These aren't any worse than any other make or model, engine, manufacturer, whatever. So what's the solution? The solution is, well, you can carry a cheap eBay or whatever $200 special, but what I recommend you do is you practice fitting it so that you're good at a roadside change, which is done through the side here. We've got a video on that, pretty straightforward. I've made it look hard, but you need to, and we had a hot tech tip on changing alternators on the VIP group yesterday, and it's also been put into the end of one of the other videos that could have come out in the last week or the next week, depending when this video comes out, but close to this video. Hot tip, changing alternators, a little tool you might want to make up to make it really easy. But what you do is, yeah, you practice fitting it just to get your practice in so you know what's involved and what tools you need, and so that you know that that cheap replacement actually works, because no point carrying it around everywhere and then you put it on the car and it doesn't work, because remember, it is a cheap replacement. There's a chance that it might not work. Then once you know it works, you take it back off again, put your original back on, and happy days, and you just carry it as a spare. Now, you're probably never going to need it. If you do need it, you're going to be glad you got it. You're going to know how to change it and what tools are required. So if you travel more than a couple hundred Ks from home, I'd probably say, yeah, it's something you should carry spare, particularly as the vehicle gets older. The other way around it are to carry solar panels, because you can plug in solar panels and make sure you've got all your connections, and you can secure the panels on the roof, or it's mounted on the roof, because a solar panel in the sun will charge the battery and run the vehicle just the same. Then you don't need to carry a spare alternator. It all depends what trip you're doing, how far you're going, and all that sort of thing, as to whether you can avoid it and what your solution's going to be. For me, in a group, I'd say we carry one spare alternator. We've never needed it when we've had it in that group, but there was one trip I can think of, well, there's two trips actually, I can think of where we needed an alternator, and both times we didn't have it. So one, we were just in South Australia at Robe, someone's place we know there. It was his car, and none of us had our spare alternators with us because it was a bit silly. And then another time in Victoria and Talbotville, not far away. Again, we normally have spares. The person with the vehicle that it happened to normally carries a spare, and I guarantee you he'll have it from now on. But anyway, your alternator is a thing, one of the items that you just never know. It's very rare, but it could just let you down. So you want to have plan B in place for alternator, know how to change it, have your spare, or have some solar panels. If you've got plenty of room and you don't mind carrying extra weight, you're a solo traveler, maybe have both, because it could work out for you. Anyway, that's a video. That's what let this one down, kind of, sort of, but not really. It got changed, no big deal, and back on the road, bada bing, bada boom style. Catch you in the next video. If you subscribe with the bell on, and don't forget to hit the like button. Catch you soon.